中国金融系统的坏账风险不断显现。由于金融机构出于规避监管的目的，将高风险信贷隐藏在资产负债表之外，导致官方的数据不够真实。中国影子银行问题专家朱夏莲经过研究，认为中国实际坏账比官方数字高 6.8 万亿美元。中国经济增长率持续下滑，诸多信息表明，中国实体经济处于困境当中，而和实体经济关联密切的银行业，他们的数据却看似美好。许多分析师长期以来怀疑中国坏账的真实水平远远高于官方数据和银行财报公布的水平。中国影子银行问题专家朱夏莲在最新报告中警告，根本的问题没有得到中共政府的解决。朱夏莲估计到今年底，中国金融系统中的坏账总额将达到51万亿元人民币，约合 7.6 万亿美元，是官方界定为不良贷款或关注类贷款的银行贷款数字的5倍以上。这个估算数字意味着坏账率为 34%， 远高于官方的数字。朱夏莲表示，中共政府对借款人和贷款人双方施加的影响，使其能够把问题的爆发大大推迟。而这在由市场驱动的西方社会中几乎是不可能做到的，尤其是中共政府可以下令国有银行继续向亏损的国有企业发放贷款。如今他最先提出的很多观点，例如对于中国各银行把高风险信贷隐藏在资产负债表外的担忧，已成为分析师们的共识。经济分析人士唐新元曾撰文指出，表面资金出表是金融机构惯用的花招，因为可以使账面更加漂亮，也可以规避监管，例如将一般性存款转化为非银同业存款，客户的存款先进入非银行金融机构，再以非银行同业存款的名义存进银行，或者银行利用现有存款认购非银行机构的各种金融产品，最后又回到银行。这些方法做起来其实非常简单，只要通过非银行机构绕一圈就行了。同样，这种方式也可以隐藏不良贷款或逾期贷款。影子银行这一概念最早是在2007年美联储年度会议上提出的，一直游离于监管体系之外，与传统的接受中央银行监管的商业银行系统相对应的金融机构。在中国，影子银行信贷本质上是给企业的贷款，但不记在资产负债表的贷款项，而是记在银行同业资产或应收款类投资下面，或者干脆就是脱离资产负债表的理财产品。
On this episode of China Uncensored, China's next financial crisis is lurking in the shadows of shadow banking. It's like China stacked up $9 trillion on the edge of a cliff. Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Matt Gnezda. I'm in today for Chris Chappell, who's on vacation, possibly in the South China Sea. Today, we're going to talk about shadow banking. It's like the evil twin of regular banking. Shadow banking involves lots of money and lots of risk, and it's tied to China's crazy investment boom. China's economic boom and its reliance on shadow banking is similar in some ways to the US economic boom in 2007. Remember, a lot of great things happened in 2007. Apple released the iPhone 1. The last Harry Potter book was published, which Chris still has not read. And the US economy had its last good year. Because then this happened.
Stocks all around the world are tanking because of the crisis on Wall Street.
The stock market is now down 21%.
We have Armageddon. In the fixed income markets, we have Armageddon.
No, but that's not what
we
they
have
said.
Armageddon.
Armageddon, thanks Jim Cramer, happened after the failure of a single investment bank had a domino effect on the entire global financial system. Trillions of dollars were lost, and so were millions of jobs. Well, it's been 10 years since then. These guys have recovered, but these guys, not so much. But now, the same kind of boom and crash could happen in China, and for the same reason. As Bloomberg puts it, China is playing a $9 trillion game of chicken called shadow banking. And like a game of chicken, some investors will get out just in the nick of time. But others will plunge off the cliff, bursting into a ball of flames on the rocks below. So what is this totally legit and trustworthy sounding shadow banking? To put it simply, shadow banking is when banks, or companies that are not banks, lend money outside of the normal structure of bank deposits and loans. Here's a simplified explanation. In the traditional banking system, if a business owner wants to grow his business, he goes to a bank, and that bank loans him money. Over time, he repays that money to the bank plus interest. Let's say a single bank makes 100 loans. It's pretty careful about who it loans to. But even so, some of the businesses will fail. So Chinese regulations require that the bank set aside money to cover potential losses. But shadow banking operates outside that traditional system. Let's say 100 businesses want loans. A shadow bank packages those 100 potential loans into what's called a wealth management product. Then it goes to investors and is like, hey, buy our wealth management product. It has a high interest rate. When the businesses repay, the investors will get their investment back plus a lot of interest. This is shadow banking. It can also get more complicated because sometimes the bank isn't a bank, but just a regular company that packages investments. And sometimes the businesses that want to borrow money aren't regular businesses. They might even be a local government that wants money to build a bridge or whatever. All these things can be packaged into wealth management products or other types of financial products and then sold to investors, or sold to investment companies, which then repackage them before selling them to individual investors. A lot of times, shadow bank loans get so complicated that no one understands exactly what the risk is. According to this article, the repackaging of credit is so complex that bankers often have to resort to line drawings that look like schematic plans for a Rube Goldberg device to explain to clients what's going on. A Rube Goldberg device, like when you pull a lever that sets a wheel in motion, that knocks down some dominoes, that ends up destroying the entire economy. But all this shadow banking and wealth management whatevers are so complicated. Investors don't want to know details. That's why companies involved in shadow banking put out feel-good ads like this.
每個人心裏面都有一道陽光，陽光在心，服務在行。中國光大銀行。
See, give us your money and you'll have sunshine in your heart. That bank, Everbright, is actually a legit commercial bank. It makes regular loans too. But recently it's also been selling a lot of shadow banking products to investors, because that allows Everbright to maximize profit without putting so much of its own money on the line. Basically, it sells the risk to investors. But a lot of Chinese investors don't think risk matters that much, because the Chinese government will probably bail everyone out if things go badly. Like the investor in this Bloomberg article who explains that the Chinese government would never let a big wealth management product fail because it's just not Chinese culture. Sounds like wishful thinking, right? But the Chinese government has bailed out banks in the past, like the $45 billion bailout in 2004. So assuming they'll do it again seems reasonable. Although if you've ever read the terms and conditions on any investment product ever, you've seen that past performance is no guarantee of future results. Sure, the Chinese government may have done a small $45 billion bailout in the past, but it doesn't want to do a $9 trillion bailout now. Besides, back then there was almost no shadow banking in China. It only started happening on a large scale after the global financial crisis 10 years ago. Authorities tried to stimulate China's economy by having banks lend more money. But soon, demand for borrowing got so high that banks didn't have enough money to lend to people. So banks started packaging loans and selling them to investors to get the cash. And it became such a big market, other companies that aren't even banks got into the game. According to a 2016 report, shadow bank loans now make up 57% of all loans in China. In other words, more than half of all lending in China now is actually done through shadow banking. And this is a big problem because shadow bank loans are usually a lot riskier than traditional loans. Once companies start packaging and repackaging, it's easy to lose track of what the risk actually is. It even starts to seem like a good idea, like jumping out of a plane without a parachute. The problem is, it only works if you're Keanu Reeves, dude. Oh, and there's another problem. Shadow banking loans don't get recorded on banks' balance sheets. That makes banks look healthier than they actually are, and that also increases the risk. And guess what? That's exactly what happened in the US leading up to the 2007 crisis. banks had been packaging and repackaging home loans, and then selling and reselling the packages, and eventually even the nerds at Lehman Brothers had no idea how to calculate the risk anymore. Shadow banking in the US was the lever that set the global financial crisis in motion, and ironically, its domino effect is what led to the rise of shadow banking in China. And now Chinese authorities are getting worried about what's coming next. In fact, Zhou Xiaochuan, the head of China's central bank, has openly warned that authorities need to curb financial risks that might lead to a Minsky moment, a sudden collapse of asset prices sparked by debt or currency pressures after a long period of growth. Basically, bad debt in shadow banking could end up wrecking the Chinese economy. And if the Chinese economy gets wrecked, it could lead to serious consequences for the Chinese Communist Party. You know, because no one believes in that communism stuff anymore, so they just tell people to go make money and don't talk about politics. But if people start losing their money on a massive scale, people might start talking about politics again. Like, who's to blame? That's why, at a top-level conference in July, Xi Jinping declared that financial security was vital to national security. National security is, of course, code for the CCP securing its power over the nation. But it's not 2007 anymore. It's 2018. We have iPhone Xs. Johnny Depp is a Harry Potter villain, and Chinese shadow banking has swelled to more than $9 trillion. The Chinese government can't afford to bail everyone out when things go south. They're trying to rein in shadow banking, but once you let the tiger out of the cage, well, I guess it runs around and eats people. So what do you think of China's shadow banking? Leave your comments below. Once again, I'm Matt Ganezda. Now it's time for that thing we do at the end. Ah, you're still here. Good. Don't worry, I haven't taken over China Uncensored. Chris will be back soon. In the meantime, if you like this show, we hope you can click on this orange button and support us by pledging $1 or more per episode. We'll invest it in a Chinese wealth management product. Click here to go to our fundraising website, Patreon.